Step into a world of romance and mystery with Tamora Rose. Today we're reading part 2 of chapter 20 of Child of the Wind. Bentley! Canace stood on a crate and shielded her eyes from the glare of the early morning sun. Bentley! Jett could tell she was worried, but they really had to be on their way. We must go, Canace, he insisted. Bentley will catch up. Not if he doesn't know where we are. Taking a deep breath, she tried again. Bentley! Canace! 2 sharp barks cut him off. A moment later, a streak of black and white was whirling around them, excited for no apparent reason. When he was finished with the humans, he moved onto the horses, darting around their feet like a dog possessed. Epona, well used to Bentley's antics, didn't move, but Jett's horse immediately started dancing in place. Stand, Jett ordered as he caught his mount's reins. Bentley, down. The dog gave him what might have been a death glare, but he stopped his frantic movements. Canace rolled her eyes. He's just happy we're finally on our way. Now I just have to get the twins. No. Jett had already decided they would remain at Barsland. He would not allow her silly attachment to a couple sheep to change his mind. They're happy enough here with the other sheep, and they're too large to fit in that bag of yours. They fit just fine. They don't. Even this argument was ridiculous. They were too large days ago, and they haven't gotten any smaller. She rounded on him, ready to fight, but the look in his eyes told her he wouldn't take kindly to her screeching at him. He was more like Duncan, she decided. Because of this, she relaxed her face and allowed her eyes to fill with tears. She even encouraged her lower lip to quiver. Just a little, but a little was enough. Jett's heart practically melted, but he knew damn well she was just trying to manipulate him. And she was damned good at it, he realized as he found himself considering her request. Well, 2 could play at that game. 3 quick strides brought him to her side. Keeping his face neutral, he wrapped her in his arms. They're happier here, he murmured. If you love them, you'll have a care for their happiness. Resentment welled as she jerked away from him. That's not fair, she whined as she looked up at him. Neither are those false tears. She glared at him, but he only dropped a kiss on her head. It's time to go. For a moment, Canace didn't move. She could have screeched, cried, and generally had a fit, but somehow she knew that wouldn't get her anywhere. She could refuse to go with him, but he was just the type of man to throw her over his saddle and drag her away. Perhaps she could race off on Epona, but no. His horse was larger and faster. He'd be sure to catch her. With no other options, she decided to return to Surfolk with him, but she wouldn't talk to him. She'd follow him back, but she wouldn't even look at him in the process. So when he came over to help her mount, she spurned his attentions and swung herself into the saddle without so much as touching a stirrup. When he tried to help her adjust her skirts, she batted his hands away. Getting the message, Jett held up his hands, hid his smile, and moved to his own horse. She was moody, this bride of his, but strangely he found himself not really minding. Oh, he'd have to take a hand or a belt to her backside at some point, just to draw the line, and he was prepared to do just that. But on the whole, he rather liked that she'd keep him on his toes. There'd be no predicting this woman, that was certain, and the thought almost made him laugh. But she was angry right now, and her anger was certainly directed at him, so he kept his laughter to himself. He could admit, if only to himself, that he'd have made a grave mistake marrying Tilda. Though Tilda was beautiful, Canace was full of life. Even angry, she made him happier than Tilda ever could. With a heavy sigh, he resigned himself to an uneventful trip home. He had intended to have Canace ride before him, taking full advantage of her lack of undergarments, but that wasn't to be as long as she wasn't speaking to him. A pity, but there wasn't anything he could do about it at the moment. Nothing that wouldn't rile her further anyway. He'd have to hasten the wedding, he decided. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this chapter, stay tuned for more tales of romance. Until we meet again, may your days be filled with passion and just a touch of magic.